Your setback is not your ending, it's your introduction to a new level of yourself, but you've got to be willing to see it that way. Right now, it might feel like everything has stopped, like the door has closed and there's no way forward. But what if I told you that this moment is not here to destroy you, it's here to develop you? Too many people hit a setback and immediately decide it's over. They let one failure define their entire future. But you can't afford to think like that. You've got to understand that every setback is a setup for something greater, something stronger, something deeper inside you that hasn't been activated yet. When life knocks you down, it's not saying you're finished, it's asking you a question. How bad do you really want it? And your response can't be words, it has to be action. You've got to get back up with a different kind of hunger, a different kind of focus, a different kind of energy. See, when a seed is planted, it gets buried in darkness. There's pressure, there's weight, there's isolation. But that seed doesn't panic. That seed doesn't quit. It uses the pressure to grow, and that's exactly what you've got to do. You've got to stop looking at your situation as if you've been buried, and start realizing you've been planted. There's something inside you that can grow through this, but only if you choose to push, only if you decide that this moment will not break you. You can't keep asking, why is this happening to me? Because that question keeps you stuck. Instead, you've got to ask, what can I become because of this? That's a powerful shift. Because now you're not a victim of your circumstances, you're a student of them. Every setback has a lesson, and if you're willing to learn it, you gain an advantage. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you discipline. Maybe it's showing you who you can trust and who you can't. Whatever it is, don't waste the pain. Don't waste the struggle. Extract the lesson and use it as fuel. Because the truth is, the people who succeed are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They get hit, they fall, they struggle, but they keep getting back up. And every time they rise, they come back stronger, wiser, and more prepared than before. That's what this moment is about for you. It's not about what you lost, it's about what you're about to gain. It's not about how hard you fell, it's about how powerful your comeback is going to be. But that comeback starts with a decision to see this setback differently, to stop treating it like a dead end and start treating it like a training ground. Because greatness is not built in comfort, it's built in adversity. And right now, whether you realize it or not, you're in the middle of a process that's shaping you into someone who can handle more, achieve more, and become more. So don't quit here. Don't stop here. This is not your final chapter. This is the part of your story where everything begins to change. Pain is temporary, but the growth you get from it can last a lifetime if you decide to use it instead of escape it. Right now, what you're feeling might be heavy. It might be uncomfortable. It might even feel unfair, but pain has never been the enemy of greatness. The real enemy is giving up too soon. Every successful person you admire has a story buried in struggle, rejection, disappointment, and moments where they could have quit but didn't. The difference is not that they avoided pain, it's that they embraced it. They understood that pain is a teacher, not a terminator. When you feel pressure, when you feel broken, when everything seems like it's working against you, that's actually where transformation begins. Because comfort never creates champions. Comfort creates average, but pain forces you to evolve. It forces you to ask deeper questions about yourself. How bad do you want it? What are you willing to sacrifice? Who are you becoming through this? And if you can stay in that moment without running, without quitting, without giving up on yourself, something powerful starts happening inside you. You begin to develop discipline when motivation disappears. You begin to build strength when confidence shakes. You begin to grow a mindset that is no longer dependent on circumstances, but rooted in commitment. That is what pain does when you allow it to work for you instead of against you. See, most people want success without struggle, but that's not how life works. There is no growth without resistance. There is no strength without pressure. Just like a muscle has to be broken down to become stronger, your character has to be tested to grow. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But if you quit every time it hurts, you will never become who you're supposed to be. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You've got to shift your thinking and ask, what is this building inside of me? Because every challenge you survive adds another layer of resilience. Every disappointment you push through builds emotional strength. Every failure you refuse to give up on sharpens your discipline. And slowly, without even realizing it, you are becoming someone stronger than the version of you that started this journey. The pain you feel today is not permanent, but what it produces in you can be permanent if you let it shape you correctly. That's why you can't waste it. Don't numb it, don't run from it, don't ignore it, use it. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it increase your hunger. Let it remind you why you started in the first place. Because one day this pain will be in your past, but the strength you gained from it will still be with you. And when that day comes, you'll realize it was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to develop you into someone unstoppable. Your comeback requires a completely different mindset than the one that got you into the setback, because you cannot rise to a new level while thinking like the old version of yourself. If what you were doing before worked, you wouldn't be in this situation right now. That's not a punishment, that's clarity. Life has a way of forcing you to upgrade your thinking when you refuse to do it willingly. And this is where real transformation begins, not in wishing things were easier, but in deciding to become harder, sharper, more focused, and more intentional about everything you do. A comeback is never emotional. It is disciplined. It is not built on motivation that comes and goes, but on a decision that stays even when everything else fades. You've got to understand that the version of you that experienced the setback had blind spots, weaknesses, distractions, and habits that could not carry you to where you want to go. So if you want a real comeback, you cannot carry that same mindset forward. You need a new way of thinking, a new level of accountability, and a new standard for yourself. That means no more excuses, no more waiting for the right time, and no more blaming circumstances. It means taking full responsibility for your life and saying, if it is going to change, it starts with me. That shift alone separates people who talk about success from people who actually achieve it. Because when your mindset changes, your behavior changes. And when your behavior changes, your results must follow. But this doesn't happen by accident. It happens through repetition, discipline, and consistency when nobody is watching. You've got to train your mind to stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. Every setback tries to plant doubt in your mind, tries to convince you that you are not enough, that you should quit, that you should settle. But a strong mindset doesn't negotiate with doubt. It replaces it with action. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, you start asking, what is the next step I can take right now? Instead of focusing on what you lost, you focus on what you can build. Instead of replaying failure, you start rehearsing success in your daily habits. That's how comebacks are created, not in one dramatic moment, but in small, consistent decisions that slowly rebuild your confidence. And the truth is, no one is coming to rescue you from this moment. No one is going to hand you the comeback you want. You have to construct it piece by piece, with discipline as your foundation and vision as your guide. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up. days when doubt is loud, days when progress feels invisible. But that is exactly where the new mindset is tested. Because anyone can stay strong when things are easy, but only those with a changed mindset stay consistent when things are hard. So if you want your comeback to be real, not temporary, not emotional, but permanent, then you must commit to becoming someone new in your thinking first. Everything else will follow. The comeback is always stronger than the setback, but only for the person who refuses to stay the same after being knocked down. Because let's be honest, not everyone comes back. Some people get hit once by life and they never recover, not because they weren't capable, but because they didn't decide to rise again. Your comeback is not automatic. It is built through decision, discipline, and daily effort when nobody is clapping for you. What separates an ordinary story from an extraordinary one is not the fall. It's the rise after the fall. And when you choose to rise, you don't rise as the same person who went down. You come back sharper, more aware, more focused, and more intentional about every step you take. That's why the comeback is always stronger, because the setback strips away your comfort, exposes your weaknesses, and forces you to rebuild from a more solid foundation. But this rebuilding process is not easy. It demands consistency when you feel tired, discipline when you feel distracted, and belief when nothing around you seems to be working. Most people want the glory of the comeback without going through the grind that creates it, but that's not how transformation works. You don't get a stronger version of yourself without pressure. You don't get a wiser version of yourself without failure. You don't get a disciplined version of yourself without struggle. Every setback is like a breaking point that either destroys you or rebuilds you depending on how you respond. And if you choose to respond with commitment instead of quitting, something powerful starts happening. You begin to outgrow your old identity. The habits that once defined you no longer fit you. The excuses that once controlled you no longer make sense to you. The doubts that once held you back start losing their power over you. And slowly, through repeated effort, you begin to step into a version of yourself that is stronger than what knocked you down. But understand this clearly. The comeback is not a single moment of victory. It is a process of becoming. It is built in early mornings when no one is watching, in late nights when you push through exhaustion, in small decisions where you choose discipline over comfort. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you are building your comeback. Every time you refuse to quit, you are strengthening it. And one day, without even realizing it, you look back and see that you are no longer the person who got defeated. You are the person who overcame. That is the power of a true comeback. It doesn't just restore you, it upgrades you. It turns your pain into wisdom, your struggle into strength, and your failure into fuel. But it only happens if you keep going when everything inside you says stop. Because the comeback belongs to the ones who decide that their story will not end in defeat, but in growth, resilience, and undeniable victory.